Do not let Blake Lively's team gaslight you into believing that Judge Lyman's ruling Tuesday, June 3rd is in any way in favor of her and her bullshit. What we're going to dive into is the ruling that Judge Lyman had just released this morning, and it's in regards to this back and forth over this Blake Lively looking to dismiss or not pursue the emotional distress claims against Justin Baldoni. Now, if you want a background on that, make sure to watch the video that I did earlier today, and I'm going to link it in the notes here so you can dive into that because it'll give you the full background. We're just going to be looking at this piece here, and this is, my friends, a win for Justin. Now, for those that are new to the channel, welcome. My name is Ashley Brianna Eve, and here we look at the intersection of pop culture, power, and media manipulation. My background and what I currently do for work is branding, marketing, and more specifically, I am kind of a nerd around SEO and narrative control with my clients. So it's something that I've become a little bit of an expert within. And I bring all of that knowledge to this case to help you understand the mechanics and the power plays that are happening behind the scenes of this case and quite literally behind the headlines of this case. But let's look at this. Today, Judge Lyman said the motion to compel at docket number 261 and 262 is denied based on plaintiff's representation that the relevant claims will be withdrawn. Lively's request that because the parties have agreed to dismiss Miss Lively's 10th and 11th causes of action, the court exercises its inherent authority and authority rule 15 to dismiss them without prejudice, is denied without prejudice to renewal. The parties shall stipulate to whether the dismissal is with or without prejudice, or Lively shall renew her request by formal motion. For avoidance of doubt, and I do feel like this piece is also for the media, I'm not going to lie, but also for their teams. I think he's kind of calling Blake's Lively out here a little bit. For avoidance of doubt, if the claims are not dismissed, the court will preclude Lively from offering any evidence of emotional distress. This is not a win for Blake Lively. Now, I want to highlight Variety again. I sang the praises of Variety this morning. They did just fantastic SEO with the truth, which was presenting Justin Baldoni's story first, and not just story, the truth first. So make sure to watch that video because I break down exactly what Variety did to make sure that everyone that clicked on that article and started reading understood what was going on and who was in the wrong, which was Blake Lively. I also talked about how I am so shocked to see a mainstream publication like Variety, like strongly, not just taking the middle ground, not wishy-washy, strongly supporting Justin to the point where they even said what he's doing, what his team is doing is not for the media. It's normal. The only thing abnormal about this is Blake Lively. It has been so nice, I'm not going to lie, to see the mainstream media call her out on that. So we're going to get to Variety. I want to feature them again because I'm just really happy to see mainstream media calling a spade and really being in front of the truth. However, I'm not a lawyer. I always joke, I don't even play one on TV. I'm not even American, even though this jacket has an American flag patch. I'm not even American. So I was reaching out to American friends to ask in plain English, what does this mean? And I even asked, I'm not going to lie, ChatGPT, and it gave me the same answer. So what I was told is basically you can't just quietly drop these claims and leave the door open to bring them back later. If you want to drop them, both sides need to agree how, either without prejudice or with prejudice. And if you don't sort it out, you're not allowed to bring up emotional distress at all during trial. And this is the same thing that I'm hearing over and over again, that if she essentially refuses, if they do not come to a decision around the with or without prejudice, it's like, fine, the claim remains open, but good luck proving it or even bringing it up because you're not allowed to talk about it. You're not allowed to bring receipts. Let's see what Variety has to say about this, though. I want to dive into this. I am so here for mainstream media turning. Guys, this makes my heart happy. I love SEO. I am not an anti-legacy media person. We just need them to be reporting the truth. And so really centering and promoting publications that are doing the right thing, I'm behind it. I think we need to. We need to use our voices. I think more than anything, we need to show platforms that you get paid through clicks. but we're not clicking on your shit if you're not reporting the truth. And I think this movement is starting to catch on. Variety says, and this was June 3rd, 2025 at 10 a.m. Pacific time. So I am on Eastern time. Judge rules Blake Lively's emotional distress claims against Justin Baldoni are officially dead. Tatiana, I like you a lot. She's so good at SEO too. The judge overseeing the Blake Lively versus Justin Baldoni lawsuit has decided that the actress's claims for emotional distress are dead. The ruling comes after a tense back and forth between the dueling sides, with Baldoni's lawyers filing a motion to compel her to turn over her medical records and Lively fighting that move. Judge Louis Liman wrote that morning that Baldoni's motion to compel is denied based on plaintiff's representation that the relevant claims will be withdrawn. Lively's request that because the parties have agreed to dismiss Miss Lively's 10th and 11th causes of action, the court exercises its inherent authority and Authority Rule 15 to dismiss them without prejudice is denied without prejudice to renewal. The party shall stipulate to whether the dismissal is with or without prejudice, or Lively shall renew her request by formal motion. For avoidance of doubt, this is what we already read, if the claims are not dismissed, the court will preclude Lively from offering any evidence of emotional distress. So Variety says, in short, Judge Liman shut down the possibility of Lively changing her mind and turning over medical records. It's a win for Justin, even though that motion and I understand, again, I'm not a lawyer, but I do understand that, I'm not going to compel her to produce something. Y'all agreed that you're dismissing this. She said she's dismissing it. So I'm not going to force her to compel something when everyone said that you're dismissing it. Sort your shit out and figure out how you're dismissing it. Variety continues with, Lively can choose to try to reach an agreement with Baldoni about dismissing the claims with prejudice, meaning without the right to refile, or she can roll the dice and ask the judge to dismiss the claims without an agreement in a bid to have the court dismiss them without prejudice. Either way, Lively's attorneys can no longer present evidence of her alleged emotional distress claims. Yes, love this. On Monday, Baldoni's lawyers filed a motion seeking to compel the actress to sign a HIPAA release for access to therapy notes and other relevant information, and referenced her desire to drop the claims rather than acquiesce. In cases involving physical or emotional injury claims, it's standard procedure for the defense to access the plaintiff's medical records as a way to identify the root and scope of alleged distress. Variety, I am so here for it. They continually highlight the only one that's out of line here is you, Blake Lively, and I am here for it. They continue here. So instead of complying with the medical RFPs, Miss Lively's counsel recently advised us in writing that Miss Lively is withdrawing her infliction of emotional distress claims, the filing stated. However, Miss Lively has refused the Wayfair party's reasonable request that the withdrawal of such claims be with prejudice. I think it's reasonable. She is only willing to withdraw her claims without prejudice. In other words, Miss Lively wants to simultaneously A, refuse to disclose information and documents needed to disprove that she suffered any emotional distress and or that the Wayfair parties were the cause, and B, maintain the right to refile her IED claims at an unknown time in this or some other court after the discovery window is closed. Lively's lawyers called the filing a press stunt. I can't get my blood pressure up again. Make sure you watch the video because I was fired up around that, because as if anyone knows press stunts better than Blake frickin' Lively. So her lawyers called the filing a press stunt and filed their own response that urged the court to sanction Baldoni's attorneys for abusing the docket and requesting that the motion to compel Lively's denied and struck. It's based on two brazenly false assertions. First, they claim that Miss Lively has refused to disclose medical and mental health information, but as counsel for the Wayfair parties to concede that information is relevant only to Miss Lively's standalone tort-based emotional distress claims that she indicated she was withdrawing, the Lively filing noted. To suggest that Miss Lively has refused to produce anything in either her written discovery response in the parties' conference or any time thereafter in connection with these claims is intentionally misleading to the court and their intended audience for the false record, the public. Again, you guys know that all too well. Second, they claim that Miss Lively has refused to properly stipulate to dismissal, but that would suggest that there was any discussion or mutually known dispute on stipulation. As noted, there was none. The article continues, the action is playing out in the U.S. District Court, Southern District of New York, where Lively sued Baldoni, claiming that she was SH'd on the set of It Ends With Us and faced a retaliatory smear campaign. Baldoni, who directed and co-starred in the hit Sony film about DV, is suing Lively and her husband Ryan Reynolds for $400 million, claiming that the actress tried to extort him and subsequently defamed him via a New York Times article. In total, there are 6 active lawsuits moving through various courts related to what happened on the set in the run-up to the 2024 release of It Ends With Us. And if we look over at Google, so when we're looking at SEO manipulation or narrative control, in terms of Google, what you're going to see is SEO. They're trying to gain traction and have their story lead on, especially page 1, but page 1 and page 2 of Google. But if you look up Blake Lively emotional distress claims, she is being annihilated. She is being annihilated. The truth about Blake Lively's therapy notes. Oh, the Daily Mail. They make you pay now, though, so I'm not going to bother. Blake Lively drops claims against Justin Baldoni of infliction of emotional distress. Blake Lively moves to drop 2 claims about Justin Baldoni. Like, this is not what you want on page 1 of Google. This is bad for your brand. This is bad for your business. You want page 1 and 2 to show your side and your narrative. Doesn't do that. Can we even see anything on page 1 that supports her? We're seeing, okay, Deadline picked it up 50 minutes ago as well. The emotional distress claims are DOA. We have one article that Blake Lively claims that she's refusing to turn over, or she's refusing to turn it over. There's not really much. Oh, there's this one. In focusing her case, Blake Lively drops emotional distress. This is the most bullshit thing I've ever heard. What's going on page 2? Yeah, this is not favorable to Blake. So even if her team is trying to push a certain narrative of like, oh no, this is for us, it's not working. It's not working. Now, we do have this one that is popping up. I want to click on it. We'll see what's going on here. Blake Lively's lawyers accused Justin Baldoni of desperately trying to make a show of her dropping 2 claims. This is what kills me about Blake. She just wanted to quietly drop this. That's exactly what she wanted to happen. And because Justin's team filed a document, a letter to the judge saying, hey, she wants to drop this without prejudice. And that is not, we are not agreeing to that. Now she's like, oh, they're coming, abusers and bullies, and they're desperately trying to make a show out of this. Blake, you don't get authorship over the court docket. I have dog hair stuck to my hat. Anything that goes on the court docket that Blake Lively doesn't like, she's like, oh, this is the abuser playbook. They're desperately trying to get it into the press. Blake, you don't get authorship over the court docket. Take a seat. We're tired of your shit. You're probably not going to get authorship over much else moving forward, unless maybe the memoir that you write or the story you write about this, because this is crazier than fiction. No one can make this shit up. But I imagine Justin's not going to roll over and let you make millions off of this story, since his name is also involved. Oh, all right. Blake Lively's lawyer accused him of making a show of it. Justin Baldoni's lawyers allege Blake Lively refuses to produce medical records, so she instead chose to withdraw the emotional distress claims. After Blake Lively withdrew 2 of her claims against Justin Baldoni, the actress's lawyers are speaking out about her surprising decision. This was posted at 1:30 Eastern. I'm at 1:50 Eastern, so just 20 minutes ago. On Monday, June 2nd, it was revealed that Lively 37 chose to drop the 10th and 11th causes of action against Justin Baldoni, 41, for intentional and negligent infliction of emotional distress. Her other claims, including SH and retaliation, remain in the case. Lively's lawyers said in a statement that the legal move is a routine part of the litigation process, that they are streamlining focus of their case. Make sure you watch my previous video, because her entire case is all the trauma and pain and psychological, emotional pain of this. Streamlining, okay. Maybe you don't have any proof. And you guys want to know my opinion? Here's my opinion. I think she was trying to quietly let this go so that no one knew, that it wouldn't make the press. And I wouldn't even be shocked if in her crazy little head that she was like, we'll just quietly keep dropping them. Like, we'll quietly let these go and then just like settle and this will all go away. Girl, you made your bed, you best sleep in it, because there is no way Justin and Brian Freeman are letting you off clean with this. And I hope they don't. I hope they drag your ass to court and he gets his 400 million, because that's what he deserves for this bullshit that you put him and everyone else through. Baldoni's attorney, however, claimed in a letter to Judge Liman on June 2nd that instead of complying with their attempt to seek medical records in the discovery process, Lively instead withdrew those claims. I don't know. If you and your family were under that much trauma from a situation, there's no way. I don't care. She damn well knows that no one, including Freeman, can go to the press with her medical records. She damn well knows it. Her team knows it. Don't pull that. Don't gaslight us. The public's not stupid, Blake. We're not buying your $160 muffins anymore. Although, did anyone ever buy them? She knows that. There's no way that anyone could go to the press with her medical information. And not only that, the audacity of her is she went to the press with people's medical information. She brought Justin's ADHD into it. She leaked and doxed Jed Wallace's heart condition. So the audacity of her to leak other people's and make other people's medical issues a centerpiece of this case and be like, no, I'd rather drop it. This woman. Lively's legal team responded in a letter to the judge on June 2nd, calling Baldoni's attorney's letter a false and plainly improper public relations stunt and asking for it to be denied and struck from the record. She didn't get what she wants. She wanted for it to be denied, struck from the record, and sanctions applied. Try and twist this, Blake, on how this worked out in your favor, because you wanted it denied, struck, and sanctions. Which one of those did you get? The actress voluntarily agreed to withdraw her infliction of emotional distress claims on Friday, May 30th, they write, adding that they worked with Baldoni's side to reach a mutually agreeable dismissal. You didn't, though. They want with prejudice. You want without. How is that so hard to understand? Miss Lively did so in good faith to streamline the dispute in the ordinary litigation process. Her lawyers claim that Baldoni's legal team concede and are aware that this renders their discovery moot, but they also have been desperately searching for an angle to make a show out of this. So according to Variety, okay, so this article is based on Variety. June 3rd, Tuesday, June 3rd, Liman confirmed that Lively's emotional distress claims are withdrawn and denied Baldoni's motion to compel her to disclose her medical records related to the claims. So this is where I think the media, if I can guess, where her team is going to latch onto and push the narrative in the media, because they're dumb. So I'm thinking like someone that's just making a really bad move. Because what they're going to push is, see, the judge denied him coming after her medical records. Well, the judge denied it because y'all are all saying you're going to dismiss it. So the judge is like, if it's being dismissed, I'm not going to force her to turn over medical records when y'all said it was being dismissed. So I agree with that. That makes sense to me. Liman left it up to the parties to decide if these claims are with or without prejudice. But if Lively later revives them, she cannot then offer the evidence to support it. So basically it's DOA. Because if Lively isn't allowed to bring evidence out that there was emotional distress, even if the claim's open, what are you going to do with your imaginary charge that you're not allowed to bring any evidence for? Lively's lawyer, Ezra Hudson, and Mike Gottlieb sent in a statement after they already made a statement. Of course they did. Of course they did. Why am I not surprised? Miss Lively has offered to dismiss those claims because they are no longer necessary. So you're not emotionally distressed anymore, Blake? And she will continue to pursue emotional distress damages through other claims in her lawsuit, including SH and retaliation. Sure, Blake. All right. Well, that's what I have for you guys. I think Variety's doing a fantastic job the last 24 hours. Their SEO is on point. So they are getting to the forefront an article that is speaking the truth, which is the only person in the wrong here is Crazy Blake. All right, guys. So let me know in the comments, what do you think of this? What are your feelings? Like, to me, this is a win. This is a big win. I'm with Variety on this. And, we'll cover it when, I don't want to say if, because she's pretty predictable, Blake twists this into some attempt at good SEO, because her SEO is a hot mess. All right, guys. With that, I'll see you in the next one. Bye, guys.